Welcome, everyone. My name is Dominic Orsini. I'm the winery chef for Silver Oak and Twomey Cellars.
And my name is Karen Young. I'm the assistant for Silver Oak Twomey Cellars.
We're here with you today in Napa Valley, and we're standing right in front of our fermentation room. So right behind us here, that's where we make our Silver Oak Napa Valley. We're going to prepare a couple recipes for you today. Recipes that you can cook right along with us here, right out there in your home. The recipes we're going to prepare is a ricotta gnocchi that we make, some morel mushrooms, some peas, some carrots, a little bit of a morel broth, and then I'm going to make a lamb dish for you as well, and you're just going to love it. So the way this works is you can interact with me. Don't hesitate. You're going to hear some people talking and asking questions, and you can feel free to ask questions as well. Just feel free to kind of take your webcam. I can actually see you as we're doing this, and you can kind of show me what you're doing. I can see what you're drinking, and we're going to just kind of have some fun with this interaction.
That's great. And if, for those of you that are a little bit on the shy side and don't want to interact with us via video webcam, you can also tweet your questions to us at Silver Oak or at Twomey, and we'll be sure to do our best to get to all of your questions.
So we're ready to get started. It's going to be a good time here. So first, I want to encourage all of you to pick up your glass of Twomey or Silver Oak wine, whatever you're drinking. Let's do a toast. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
I'm enjoying the Twomey Pinot Noir here. This is the Russian River, 2011. Really excited about this. So let's get started on this recipe. You ready to do it?
Yeah, let's get started.
So now the first thing we got to do, now if you haven't downloaded the recipes yet, you can download them. There's a link on the site here. You can download the recipes and follow along. And what we're going to start with is the ricotta gnocchis. To do so, I'm just going to go over the ingredients that we have over here for the ricotta gnocchis. We have a little bit of ricotta cheese, about 16 ounces. There is some Parmesan, some egg yolks, some chives. We have some flour, some salt, and then baking powder. Now, the baking powder I know is a bit of an odd ingredient.
Yeah, how come you're using baking powder for your gnocchis?
Well, traditionally, you'll find with potato gnocchis will naturally rise on you a lot. The ricotta is a bit on the wet side, unlike traditional potato ones, which are a little drier. So you need a little bit more flour involved to help them work together. So what that baking powder does is that kind of helps give them lift and kind of lighten them up when you boil them, because that extra flour that's needed can make them dense and heavy. But what I'm going to do, Karen, is I'm going to let you kind of get involved here and start making this recipe for us.
Great.
So to do it, you're just going to take that ricotta, we're going to put that in the bowl, and you can use there you go. You scrape that right into the bowl. We're going to add the egg yolks, the Parmesan, and the chives next. And the best thing to do is just kind of get them in there. Don't feel like you have to add them in stages here. We keep it real simple for you. So the Parmesan, all in.
All right.
Got that. 3 egg yolks. Chives, and then the salt. So the great thing about this recipe is you can mix it by hand if you want. You don't need to use the mixer. You can simply just kind of take a wooden spatula, mix it all together. I like all the salt. I like the mixer. It makes it a little bit easier. We're using the paddle attachment as opposed to the hook or the whip. So let's go ahead and add the flour as well now. We got all that wet in there first, and so now we're just going to put the flour right on top. And then you're going to go with the baking powder. You're going to shake the baking powder right on top, kind of like you're sprinkling it on. There you go. Exactly. Kind of distribute it around so it doesn't clump up. So go ahead and put the paddle inside the bowl.
Okay. And
then we're going to attach that right onto the mixer. There we go. Just go. Perfect. Just snap it on, and then you just press it down the back so it snaps in place. There we go. Reach around, I'll help you with that.
Okay.
So, like I said, if you don't do mixer, you can just do it by hand. Just going to break that up, and just speed 1 is all you need to do.
All right.
So you're going to mix that. You're going to mix it till it just comes together here for the ricotta gnocchis. Now, while that's mixing, I'm going to get started on the next couple steps. The ingredients I have over here, I have some shallots. We have some mushrooms here. We have some peas, some carrots, and some lemon juice. And the way to do this recipe is you're going to start out by sweating down the shallots. In my saute pan, I have on a medium heat here. I'm just going to add a little bit of olive oil. And then we're going to add the shallots right in to get those cooking together.
All right.
Now, we're going to lightly cook these. They'll get like a little golden color, if you will. I like to put a little caramelization to the shallots at first. And once I get a little color to them, then we're going to throw in our mushrooms. How's those ricotta gnocchis?
Looking like it's coming together right now.
Let's go ahead and pull that off, and we'll check that out.
Okay.
Beautiful. It's just come together here. We can see. I'll pull that off. I'll help you out here. Show you folks at ToutSuite so you can check it out here. We have everything's pretty much together. You don't see any of the flour or the cheese. So what we're going to do now, you can go ahead and scrape this out of the bowl right onto the cutting board. And while you're doing that, I'll dust it with a little bit of flour. Want to make sure you put a little bit of flour on the board first so that the gnocchi doesn't stick, okay? Now I'm going to go back to these mushrooms real quick, kind of give them a stir here. Now, don't feel that you have to do this dish simultaneously at home, okay? Making gnocchis and sauteing your mushrooms. The gnocchis here, you can actually make these well in advance, up to a couple days if you like. You can even make them far in advance and even freeze them in your freezer. They hold up great. There you go. Just pull that out, that last little bit out. So the mushrooms need to saute a little bit further. Now what you're going to do is we're going to sprinkle, I'll show you this next part here. We're just going to sprinkle a little bit of flour on top. And the key here is make sure you got some flour on your hands. Put a little flour on your hand, and we're going to kind of press this together to make a nice little ball, if you will. A little more flour on top. There we go. You got to press that together to make a little ball. Just like so. And you can kind of roll it here. Now, it's gnocchi dough, so you don't want to treat it like a bread dough. You don't want to stand here and push hard and knead it, because what's going to happen is the glutens are going to start to develop. And those glutens will kind of make it a little tough for you. So, ideally at home, you want to let that rest for about a half hour before you actually start making the gnocchis. But today, for our time's sake, we're just going to dive right in. So just give me a second. I'm going to it's easy to clean your hands off. Just kind of rub them together. There we go. Now, I'm not going to use any fancy tools. I'm going to use tools that you have at home. Simple little, this is my metal spatula. Now, if you have like a little egg turner, that'll work just as fine. What we're going to do here is we're simply going to slice a piece off. As you can see, slice a piece off, coat it with a little bit of flour, maybe a little bit, just a little more. And in this step, we're actually going to roll it into like a little snake, if you will. So I'm going to start out with my hands flat. Am I going too fast for anyone? Anybody got some questions out there while we're doing this? I think I see Sam there. Did you get your gnocchis all mixed up yet? Roll it out to like a little rope or snake like this, if you will. Okay. Once we get to this point, we're going to start cutting it.
All right.
Okay.
Can I jump in now?
You can jump in. So why don't you go ahead and do a slice of that and start rolling some of those out.
Okay.
You roll about 2 or 3 snakes. I'm going to go check back to our mushrooms right here. So these are sauteing along nicely. I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit here. Now, the mushrooms that I've chose to use are a mix of oyster mushrooms and morel mushrooms. Now, if you only have morels that you can find, that's fine as well. If you find morel mushrooms, most likely you're going to find them dry. Now, the dried morel mushrooms, like this one here, now this may look like a fresh mushroom, but this was actually a dried morel mushroom. And I hydrated it. Poured a little bit of hot water on them and let them sit, and they soaked up the water.
How long does it take for you to do that?
It takes about, really quick, about 10 minutes.
All right.
And then I save that broth. And now that broth, you can actually even use that in this recipe. The recipe calls for a little bit of pasta water that we pour in later. You can use that same morel mushroom broth into it as well. So it looks like you have, we have a couple snakes ready. You can keep rolling out.
All right.
I'm going to, in a second here, show you how we get that traditional gnocchi shape. Now, traditionally in Italian restaurants, they're going to use what's called a gnocchi board, this board right here that we have. Now, a lot of people don't have this at home. So what you can use instead, you can use a fork. What's the key is you want these ridges that you'll get here on the sides, so that you can you're going to be able to roll it over to get that little ridges that are going to grab onto the sauce of the gnocchi. But we'll show you that in just a second. So what we're going to do next, now that we got this one rolled out, we're going to go ahead and cut some of these gnocchis, and we're going to start rolling them out. So looking good. So what we're going to do here, now Karen, I want you to go and slice them into little pieces, just like this, with the edge of the spatula. Okay.
Sure.
Now you can use your spatula if you the same spatula you were just using, or if you want, you can even use a dull knife, if you will.
Okay.
So after they're cut, I'm going to sprinkle them with a little more flour. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the technique. First, I'll show you the technique on the gnocchi boards. So corner to corner, and I'm going to take my thumb here, and I'm going to give them a gentle roll so they fall off of the gnocchi board. So you have a lot to do. You might want to go a little quicker, but I'm going to slow that down for you. So I'm basically taking this part of my thumb right here, taking that part of my thumb right there, and we're giving it a gentle roll and letting it fall right off the board. Let me show you that same technique with a fork. See how you can get it? See how the ridges kind of get the same thing here? They're a little different. They're a little bit wider ridges. Do a little bit more flour, it's a little sticky, and I want you to kind of jump on and try this. I'm going to let you try it with a fork. There we go. You're going to use your thumb here. Exactly, and just let it fall into the pile that we started.
All right.
We're going to pick them up. We're going to go through, and we'll roll these into the gnocchi.
I've never done this before, and I definitely don't have a gnocchi paddle at home.
Right? You got to get one of these.
I can see myself using the fork.
So what we're going to do here, we're going to keep rolling these out. While you're doing that, I'm going to start cutting some more so we can get enough prepared for ourselves, and we're going to finish this dish. It's a pretty easy dish. Now, I already got the mushrooms ready. They're all sauteed. Now, to put the rest of this dish together, it's simply a matter of boiling the carrot, boiling the peas, and the gnocchis together. So I'm going to go ahead and start by adding the carrots, because they're going to take about 3 or 4 minutes. I got a pot of boiling water over here. We're just going to dump them in. Not much to see there. Carrots and boiling salted water. We'll let that boil. I got a little bit of oil floating on the top of that water. I'll tell you about that in a second. That's an important step to know about. So we have those cut. I'm going to cut a few more here. There we go. Now, I chose to pair this dish with, we have 2 wines that we find they'll pair wonderfully with. Pair it with our Twomey Sauvignon Blanc.
Which is what I'm drinking.
And we can also pair it with our Twomey Pinot Noir. Okay. Cut these, and now we can roll these out, and then we should have plenty for our dish.
So while Dominic preps more of the gnocchis, I'll tell you about an event we have going on this Saturday. We have our Pinot and Pizza on Saturday at both of our Twomey properties. We've got 2 locations. One is in Healdsburg, and then the other is in Calistoga. We still have tickets available. We are selling them online, so you can visit Twomey.com and buy tickets directly online, or you can purchase tickets at the door, and they'll be $25 per person. It's a great event. Dominic's going to be making pizzas, which is one of his specialties. And we'll be releasing some of our wines. Our Twomey Sauvignon Blanc, the 2012, as well as 3 of our Pinot Noirs, our Russian River Valley, our Anderson Valley, and our Sonoma Coast. So we would love for all of you to join us. It starts at 12, and we always have live music, and it's a lot of fun.
Great thing is, these aren't just pizzas, folks. These are wood oven pizzas. I don't know if you're a wood oven pizza fan like I am. We have a wood oven here at the property here in the Napa Valley that we bake all of our breads here at the winery out of that wood oven. In addition, we'll do some dishes out of that wood oven. But the great thing about pizzas out of the wood oven is it's cooking at 750 degrees. And so the pizzas only take 45 seconds to cook. You put them in, they puff up, they get beautiful golden, little char burn on some of the bubbles, which I just love. Once I learned to make pizzas in a wood oven pizza, I was never to go back. So we've got the gnocchis all rolled out here. The next step in this dish is really to start putting it together, okay? So we have the carrots boiling away. Now I'm going to check them. Now, Karen, I want your help here.
All right.
tasting this carrot, see where we're at with it.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a feel. Feels very close to me. I'm gonna say done. What do you think?
I think it's done. Al dente, right?
Al dente. There you go. So the carrots are boiling away. Next step here, we're just going to go right in. We're going to add English peas. They're going to cook pretty quick here. Just turn the burner up just a little bit higher here, because I wanted to cook a little faster for us. All right. So, and then I have a lid that's going to kind of help this all boil and come together here momentarily. There we go. Put that lid on. We're going to get a nice boil here. And then the next step is put the gnocchis in. They float, and then the moment they float, the peas will be done, then the carrots will be done, and we're going to take them out of the water here. And because that oil that I was talking about earlier that's floating on top, as I pull everything out, the oil is going to stick to the gnocchis and to the carrots, and that's going to go right into the saute pan. And then we're going to add a little ladle of the pasta broth. Okay, so the pasta broth has some of the starchy flours from the gnocchis in there, so it's kind of thickened up a little bit. And so that broth with the olive oil is going to kind of boil together and kind of create like this sauce or broth, if you will. It's a great way to do pasta instead of doing heavy cream and butter, and you're trying to eat a little healthier. This is one of the things that we'll do, or that I like to do at least, that helps to do that, so that we're not so much fat in our foods. So looks like we're back to a boil here in our pot. Let me go ahead and reach in, give it a stir. Now the peas I'm using are spring peas. They're fresh English peas, so they were actually raw. So in this step, you actually want to let them cook for about a minute or so before you would add your gnocchi. At home, you're quite possibly using frozen peas, which is just as fine. If you are, you're going to want to make sure you don't add the peas so you're ready to add the gnocchi, which I'm ready to add the gnocchi at this time. So Karen, go ahead and pick them up.
All right.
You're going to transfer them to my hand here, and we're going to get all of these gnocchis into the water. You're going to notice here that they're going to float within about 30 seconds. It happens really fast. Okay. In the water like so. All right. Now I'm going to put the lid on. Lid's always good when you're boiling things. Helps kind of trap in that heat. Helps kind of speed the boiling up for you a little bit. So while we're waiting for that little bit, Karen, can you go ahead and pull this cutting board here, and let's go ahead and transfer it right over to that rack over there.
Sure.
So if we're ready for our next dish, and then we're going to pull some dishes out, and we're going to finish assembling this dish and platter it up.
All right, looks like we have some tweet questions coming in, so let's see what we've got.
Okay, while you're reading that tweet, I want to show you this is all about to come out of the water here. We're going to pull these gnocchis and carrots out. What's that tweet question you got, Karen?
All right, first one on the list today, we've got, does Twomey make Cabernet Sauvignon?
Really good question. Twomey does not make Cabernet Sauvignon. Twomey is a Merlot, Pinot Noir, and Sauvignon Blanc focused winery.
Right, Silver Oak is who focuses exclusively on our Cabernet Sauvignons. We want to do the Cabernet well, and we want to do it right. And that's one of the values of Silver Oak that has extended over to Twomey, where we focus on the quality and we focus on food-friendly wines. So
I've pulled all the gnocchis out of the water here boiling. I'm adding the water to it here, okay? And what's important, one of the most important steps when making a pasta dish at home is you want to make sure that after you've added your pasta to the sauce and to everything that you're doing, that you let it boil together. Let those flavors kind of marry and join together with each other. So we have, at the moment, we have the gnocchis in here, the mushrooms, the peas, the carrots. I think it's time to taste.
It smells delicious.
It smells, yeah, you know, I haven't seasoned it yet. We still have a couple more ingredients down, but I just can't help myself. I need to try it. There we go. Well, let's try that. It's a little hot. Be careful. Blow on it. Okay, here. Are they dense? Are they light?
No, they're light. They're fluffy. They are just perfect.
Wow. Oh, yeah, I'm liking that.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so we got to season this up at the end. A couple key things here. A little bit of Parmesan we're going to throw in. Now, keep in mind, your Parmesan adds a little bit of salt to your dish. We're going to put in the lemon juice right now. Need that acid balance, a key step in food and wine pairing we'll talk about later. Adding our acid to that. I also add a little bit of lemon zest to it. This is what we zested ahead of time. Okay? We're going to give this a gentle stir. And then finally, we're going to add our parsley. And a little tip, whenever you're adding your fresh herbs to something hot, the key is to add it at the very end.
Why do you do that?
Because if you add it too soon and it sits in a pot, it's going to wilt down. It can become black and almost brown. So we're going to put our parsley in. And can you hand me that bowl behind us here? Parsley goes in on top. Okay. Here we go. Give a little toss here. Everybody wants to see a little show. You got a little toss action. There we go. There we go. And if you can see in the camera, you can see how that water, and it's not oily. It's almost like a sauce that the oil and the water have made together here. So I'm going to go right into the bowl.
Perfect for a little family-style meal at the end of the day, right?
Right. And the beauty of this, you can serve it hot and fresh. You can even do the same dish cold. Just take the vegetables, but instead of going into the pan, just put it on a tray, put it in your refrigerator, let it cool down, serve it as a cold or a hot dish, depending on what the weather's like. So here, I want you to taste it.
All right, we'll do.
I do this all the time. And now
I'm about to try this with the wine as well. So
you do. You're going to try it with the Sauvignon. We're pairing it with the Sauvignon Blanc. And I want you to try it with that, but I also want you to try it with the Pinot Noir.
Okay.
Now it may seem here, we got light things. We got ricotta gnocchis. We have the peas and the carrots. And then it's just a little bit of lemon juice. I mean, it's like, where's the beef? Where's the meat? What's going to make this pair with a red wine? But I'll let you go ahead and taste it and tell me what you think with the SB. And then also try the Twomey Pinot Noir if we can as well. Anyone out there have questions as we're doing this dish?
I think I have a few more tweaks we can get to.
Love to hear them.
What is your favorite food and wine pairing?
Wow, good question. My favorite food and wine pairing. Well, for me, this right now at the moment, actually. For me, the food and wine pairing that I had that was kind of a revelation for me, really made me excited about food and wine was when I was at a restaurant. I went to a steakhouse. I had this great steak, and I had some Cabernet. And I'm not going to say, Silver Oak Cabernet steak. It was a really good Cabernet that I had with some steak, and it was okay. But then a friend that I was with told me, squeeze a little bit of lemon juice on your steak, and then put a little bit of salt. And then I did that. And for something, it was like angels started singing in my mind when I then tasted that steak with the lemon juice and then tried the wine. All of a sudden, the wine just kind of exploded in my mouth. And from that point on, it was just kind of these bells that went off in my head that said, wow, okay, there's something to do with that. Something that lemon and that salt did really help the wine.
I find that the lemon that you put in this dish really goes nicely with our Sauvignon Blanc, and I have to try the Pinot Noir.
Try the Pinot, and I'm going to try some of that SB.
Switch with you.
So why does the Sauvignon Blanc pair so well with the gnocchi?
Very good question. Thanks for asking that. So one of the things I was alluding to a little bit there with the acid and the lemon juice, when it comes to pairing food and wine, my simple philosophy and my approach really starts out with your protein, actually. That's the first thing I think about. I like to pair light proteins with lighter wines and medium proteins with medium and heavier with heavier wines. And what I mean by all of that, we start out with something like chicken or shrimp, very light meats. In the case of this, just some gnocchis are a primary ingredient here. We'll pair that with something light with like Sauvignon Blanc or even a Pinot Grigio. As we start going a little bit more heavier meats like fish, like salmon, a little bit more fat to salmon, to tuna, even pork, I will then lean to some bigger wines like a Chardonnay or a Pinot Noir. As we progress and get into some proteins that are a little heavier, we get into lamb, we get into duck, even venison or beef, I will go into heavier, bigger wines, Syrah, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot. And so that's kind of the first start. Now, that doesn't tell you why this pairs with the Sauvignon Blanc. That's a step one. You have the protein. In the case of this, the ricotta gnocchis, the ricotta cheese, is the protein that you're using. So it's light like SB. But we've gone and balanced it. We've balanced it with fat, so there's some olive oil in there, a little bit of salt, and a little bit of acid. Now, the salt's important because your tongue, you taste salt, sweet, sour, bitter. It gives you something for your tongue to taste. You taste that salt, you taste that food. The acid really helps kind of balance the acidity in the wine. If you don't add acid to the food, the wine can be a little overwhelming. When you add a little bit of lemon juice to your dish, that really helps kind of balance it and helps it pair with the Sauvignon Blanc. And then, as far as the Noir, the mushrooms are another protein item. They're bringing in a lot of umami, a bit of an earthiness to it, and there's something about that earthy characteristic of the mushrooms that I find really help tie in the Pinot Noir.
So I'm going to jump in now. We have another tweet from Leora.
Okay.
And she says, thanks for the heads up, and she's going to try to make it.
All right.
Yeah. So hopefully we see her on Saturday.
Oh, awesome! At the release date.
Right.
Leora, are you going to go to Calistoga or the Healdsburg location?
So we'll have to see what she says back.
So what we're going to do now, we got another recipe to prepare. I'm going to kind of straighten some things up here. We're going to get started on this next recipe. This next recipe is a lamb skewer. We've glazed it with a tamarind glaze, and then we're going to serve it on a tricolored quinoa salad. And for me, I find there's something about tamarind and lamb. You know, like veal and tomato sauce, tamarind and lamb have such a wonderful affinity for each other. Now, if you've never seen tamarind before, you can find it at your specialty store. They come in these long pods. Many times they're going to come to you in a concentrated form, or they're going to come to you in a paste form. Either way will work for this recipe. And so for our first step, I'm going to pull some of these pots and pans out of our way. I have a griddle pan here that we're going to transfer over. And with this griddle pan, we're going to be grilling the lamb in a moment.
All right. While Dominic is getting ready for the lamb skewer, I'll tell you a little bit about our wine club. We started our Twomey Wine Club about a year ago and have had great success. We're very excited about it. We love all of our wine club members, and we've done already a wine maker dinner with both of our winemakers, Ben Kane, who's our Twomey winemaker, and Daniel Barron from Silver Oak. We had a great turnout. We do pickup parties for our wines, and a lot of our members are going to be joining us on Saturday, as I mentioned, for our Pinot and Pizza. We've got a couple different tiers, so for someone like me who likes to have options to pick, you can always pick one of the tiers and move up along the way and be a part of the Duncan family. So we're really thrilled to have it, and looks like we've got one more tweet. So I'm going to jump in, Dominic, right before.
Tweet.
All right. Can you explain again what you substituted for the cream to make it less fat?
So I want to make clear, it wasn't no fat, it was more healthier fat. We're using extra virgin olive oil. In the pasta water that was cooking, we had extra virgin olive oil poured in on top, and it was floating on the surface. So as I strained out the gnocchis out of the water and put them into the saute pan, the olive oil stuck to the gnocchis and the peas and the carrots, and then we added a ladle of that water and that olive oil as well to the saute pan. And as it boiled, the water and the olive oil emulsified together. That's like if you make a vinaigrette at home, you have vinegar and olive oil and you shake it up, and it kind of turns into that mixture, that emulsification. That's what happens in the saute pan as it's boiling away. So it kind of gives you this kind of nice mouthfeel. It's a great alternative to buttered cream. So I'm all ready to go on our next dish here. We're going to get started on this lamb skewers that we're going to do. So the first thing that has to get going is I have to get our tamarind glaze. We're starting out with orange juice. You have just a little bit of fresh orange juice already in this pot for you. I have some tamarind as well. Now, I mentioned a little bit ago, tamarind, you can find it sometimes in the whole pod form. Sometimes it comes like what I have here, which is like a paste or a pulp, if you will. Sometimes it'll come in like a liquidy concentrate, almost like a puree. All of them are going to work for you. what you're going to notice with the one I have here, the pulp, there's actually a little bit of the seed left in there. That's okay. We're just going to glaze this on top, and so that's really not going to affect the dish too much. And I'm just going to put that in there. And if you've never had tamarind before and you try it, I encourage you to taste it without the orange juice. It's got this amazing sourness to it. It's really intense. The orange juice has a little bit of sweetness and kind of tones down, almost softens that acidity. So with the tamarind, we have a little bit of chili powder. We have some cumin, in addition to a little bit of mustard. This is all going to go in this pot, and we're going to put it on the pot, on the stove, and we're going to bring it to a boil. And this is all going to simmer and reduce together to make our glaze. So, pardon me while I reach over here. Put that burner on the high, and we're going to let that cook.
Great.
Next thing.
So I actually just poured you a glass of our Silver Oak Alexander Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. This is our 2008 vintage, which is our current release.
Nice.
Drinking deliciously right now, and I thought it would be one of the wines we would pair today for you.
I think that's an excellent selection. The earthiness of this wine, I think, is going to balance beautifully with the lamb. Since I started as winery chef for Silver Oak, it's a really great thing to do. These wines are so food friendly. They just love being on the table, enjoyed with cuisine. They're moderate alcohols. Nowadays, whenever I go to buy a Cabernet, they seem to be these alcohol bombs. Silver Oaks have always been moderate in alcohol and quality. They keep the alcohol low, and just a good acid balance helps pair beautifully with the food. Aged in brand new American oak, and 50% one-time used American oak. Now, Alexander Valley, coming north of Healdsburg, you'll notice that's a bit of a warmer climate. I get a bit of more of an earthy character, kind of a dark blackberry fruit character to the Alex compared to the Napa.
Right.
Whereas the Napa, I get more of a brighter fruit, because here in the Napa Valley, slightly cooler than Alexander Valley. So not as much of that ripeness that you'll find, but definitely luscious and ready to drink. So we're going to get started on the lamb. I'm going to review the ingredients, but let me give this glaze a stir, because I can just smell that. Oh, man. Can you smell that?
Oh, yeah, all the way over here.
So now, it's not the prettiest sauce at the moment. It's just got to kind of come together. It's got to simmer for a while. So we're going to let that do its thing. Excuse me. We're going to start marinating the lamb. Here I have some leg of lamb here. We've already diced it up for you here, gotten it ready to go. Leg of lamb, traditionally people will roast leg of lamb. It's a very traditional cooking preparation for it. I enjoy grilling it. It's such a tender meat. Next time you go to your store, I highly encourage you to get the leg of lamb. Don't be scared about it. Take it home. It always comes in a net. Take that netting off and just dive into it. I'm going to be honest. You're going to find a little bit of fat in there. You're going to find a little piece of sinew in there. But that's leg of lamb. It's not all going to be. It's not going to be tough. You'll find a lot of those pieces will remain tender even after you grill them. So to make this marinade, got some coriander.
All right. Where are we putting all of them?
I have you just sprinkle the ingredients right on top here.
Right on top.
Some coriander, a little bit of parsley, a little bit of rosemary. Talk about affinity of flavors. There's something, again, the rosemary and lamb. A little bit of rosemary, a little garlic, and a little bit of shallot. Now, I keep my alliums, the shallots, the garlic, I keep them raw in the marinade. That raw flavor really helps kind of penetrate into the meat, creates a depth of flavor and character for the marinade. There we go. Put those shallots in there. A little bit of olive oil as well. And I've been touching the lamb already, so I'm going to put my hands in. There we go. Don't be afraid of your food. Just kind of put your finger in there. Scrape it all in there. There we go. It's okay. You have nice fingernails. We'll let me be the hero.
It's all right. I don't mind.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just going to dive in here. I'm going to mix this up. Now, I'm also going to show you how to make these skewers, okay? Show you a couple techniques. Now, the recipe calls for 6-inch wooden skewers. I have 12-inch ones today. 6 inches are 12, 6, whatever. It depends on how you want to serve them. Pardon me, I'm going to reach over for some right here. So we're going to take these skewers, and I'm going to show you a technique for skewering the lamb here. that I find a little bit easier. When you're working in a restaurant, you have to do 200 to 300 lamb skewers. You don't want to have to take each one at a time, because what you're going to do is you're going to find it's going to take you all day long. Instead, what we do in the restaurants, we'll take, and here at the winery, we'll take and we'll make our line of bruschettas right here. And then I'll take our skewer and we'll push it through the entire way, just like so. And it's a way to do it a little bit faster. And the key is making sure I have my fingers here. I know where that tip of that skewer is going to go. We're pushing all the way through. Right?
While you finish skewering that, we got another tweet. And the question is, Sean Rev, hello, Chef. Will you have any gluten-free pizzas this weekend?
I will, Sean. That's a great question. Gluten-free, we have some wonderful pizza shells and a wonderful recipe that we make. All you got to do is when you come to our release day, if you want a gluten-free, just go right up to to where they're making the pizzas, let them know. We'll make one a la minute for you, which is going to be great. I mean, yeah, gluten-free, so you got to have. We want all those people that love pizza but don't love the gluten to enjoy it as well. So we're just going to keep going through here, and we're going to skewer up a few more here. Yeah, please. And while you're doing that, I'm going to check on our marinade or our glaze. Getting really close here. Okay. And so what happens is that sticky tamarind starts to kind of dissolve and melt. I'm just going to turn our burner off here because it's pretty come together here. You can see here, give a little mix right here. I'm just pressing down some of those pulp pieces of the tamarind there to let it dissolve into that orange. Let that sit, and while Karen continues skewering, I'm going to dive in and start assembling the quinoa salad. Now, we've made, what we have here is, for the quinoa salad, we're using a tri-colored quinoa. You check your local store, see if they carry tri-colored quinoa. It's usually a red, a black, and a white. It comes mixed together already. If they don't, traditional quinoa will be fine. If you're not into quinoa, there's so many other grains you can use. You can use brown rice. It's a good alternative. Even some wild rice would make a great substitution in this salad. Hi, Melanie.
Hi.
Hey.
My question is if Chef has a favorite Silver Oak vintage to date, and if so, what is it?
Really good question. I'd have to say it's a tie. It's a tie between the vintage when I started here, which the vintage that was released when I started with Silver Oak was the 2003 Alexander Valley Cabernet. And it was, I started with the winery about 5 years ago, so it was a great vintage that I remember very well. However, I do remember a night before starting with Silver Oak, in which a friend of mine brought a 1986 Alexander Valley Cabernet. And I remember it being mind-blowing. It was one of the first times I had ever had Silver Oak, and it just kind of blew me away. The wine with such age and such history, and how wonderful and how well it held up over time. And, it was just so alive and fresh. And, yeah, definitely one of my favorites.
Great question.
So these skewers look like they're pretty much done here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, since we got them done, I'm going to wait on assembling that salad. I'm going to go ahead and start, just go right into these, grilling these skewers that are all ready to go. So we have the lamb already skewered up, okay? We're going to season them now. We're going to season them with a little bit of salt before we put them onto the grill. Now, at home, you can grill them on your regular barbecue the way you like. What we're doing here is I have an iron skillet griddle pan. We're just going to throw the bruschettas right on top of them like that. And the key is to get the one side marked while and cooked, and then we're going to taste the other side after the one side cooks.
So is there a good technique for getting your meat and your proteins marked?
There is. In the case of bruschetta, it's kind of hard to see the lines, like when you mark a piece of chicken.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going to kind of go right on it. But typically when if I were to cook like a piece of chicken or a piece of steak, we go by a simple rule called the 10 o'clock and the 2 o'clock. So you start with your steak pointing, if the grill were a clock, pointing at what looks like the 10 o'clock direction, letting it go for a second, and then giving it a quarter turn to the 2 o'clock. And what you'll have is some crisscross hash marks by the time you go and flip it over, which adds some beauty to the cut. We're going to go and throw these bruschettas right on like so and let those start cooking.
All right.
We're going to get a little higher.
Can I jump in with another sweet question?
Please do.
All right. So this comes from Murph130. What makes the Alexander Valley pair better with the lamb than the Twomey Pinot Noir?
That's a really good
It's a great
question, actually. You know, pardon me, not that the Pinot Noir wouldn't taste good with the lamb, but we'll find with the Pinot Noir it's a little bit more lighter bodied compared to our Alexander Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. The Alexander Valley has a little bit more of that full body characteristic, and the lamb has a little bit more of that richness and that rich kind of lamb characteristic flavors, which I find it's more of an aroma complement. I think you'll find the Pinot Noir and the lamb will both taste beautifully. However, you'll get more of this harmony with the darker quality wine.
All right.
So these guys are grilling away here. Going to check out our tamarind glaze, which is ready. I'm just going to hold that for the moment, and what I want to do is slide this cutting board down. If you could help me slide this down, Karen. And then after we slide that down, I'm going to go ahead and pull a bowl over here. We're going to assemble that quinoa salad.
All done with the cutting board?
I can, if you have room. So, quinoa salad. We have the quinoa. I've already boiled the quinoa off. This salad can be served room temperature, ambient, or cold, if you will. So we have the quinoa boiled here with some cherry tomatoes. We have a little bit of lemon juice, some parsley, some almonds, some olives. What we're going to do here is just a really straightforward salad. We're going to put everything together. Put our quinoa in like so. And like I was saying, you can substitute whatever grains you like. If you prefer a little bit of farro, it's a great substitution. Wild rice, brown rice. I like quinoa, very healthy, very high in antioxidants, high in protein. Got a little bit of almonds that we're sprinkling in as well. Now, there's a lot of parsley in this recipe. I'm kind of making a twist almost on like a Bulgar wheat salad, where it's usually heavy on the lemon juice and heavy on the parsley. So we went a little heavy on those ingredients. Little black olives, cherry tomatoes, some lemon juice. Like before, like we were talking about, you need a little bit of that acid to balance the protein, to help it balance with the wine. A little bit of lemon juice in there. We're going to throw in some olive oil as well. You don't need too much olive oil. About a couple tablespoons will be enough. And then I'm going to put in a little bit of salt. I'm looking over here at the lamb. The lamb's almost there. We're going to flip that momentarily. So once all those ingredients are in, just a simple toss together. Help everything come together. Toss together and taste. I can't emphasize enough. Whenever you're cooking with your food, make sure you taste it partway through. That recipe may say a teaspoon of salt, but a teaspoon of salt may not be enough. A little crunch from that almond. You have the fruit and the tomato coming through. And the olive. The olive is bringing a lot of salt as well.
I love the colors in your salad as well.
I do too. I wanted to give it a bit of a spring, summer kind of feel to the dish. We're going to go back to this lamb now. I want you to take a look at this here. I'm going to kind of reach in here and see if we can flip these guys over. Beautiful. Now, you cook your lamb how you like. I'm a bit of a medium rare lamb guy. All right. Just like that. Pardon me here. My hand's turned just a little bit. There. So it's only going to take about 3 to 4 minutes per side. 3 to 4 minutes per side, depending on how hot your grill is or how hot your skillet pan can be. So those are going to take another minute. But now that I've flipped them over, it's time that we're going to give it a gentle glaze with a tamarind glaze. So we're going to take some of this tamarind glaze here. We're just going to brush that on top of the bruschetta, just like that. Smoke of this rosemary. Yum.
It's really starting to smell good. So for those of you that are cooking this one at home, you know what I'm talking about. So when you get a chance to do this, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about.
So a little bit of the tamarind glaze. After we sear the one side is when we want to add the glaze. And then after we flip it, we're going to flip it over one more time. And this side that I'm glazing now is going to it's going to sear. It's going to become a little sticky here, come together. And then we're going to get the dish all together like that. Beautiful. So we got a little tamarind glaze on that. Whoa. Any questions so far, folks out there following us, how we're doing this? Don't be shy. You can tweet in your questions if you like.
I'm going to take a look and see if we've got any coming in.
All right. Tamarind glaze on that. I'm going to get this dish all ready for us to plate up for you in a moment. All right. Splatter here. While I'm waiting for the bruschetta to grill, I'm going to enjoy a little bit of Alexander Valley Cabernet Sauvignon.
Cheers to that.
So, not only is our Twomey release day, which is this Saturday, we also have our Silver Oak release day, the first Saturday in August.
That's right, for our Alexander Valley Cabernet.
Alexander Valley Cabernet Sauvignon is going to be released as well. Hope to see you there. Traditional Silver Oak release day. Check those bruschettes. There we go. Got a nice sear on the other side here. Now, there we go. We're going to flip them back over here and let that side that I just glazed kind of sear and lacquer on. And we're going to glaze it one more time to get these babies ready.
So we did get another tweet, and it's kind of a difficult question for you, Dominic, but have you ever had a food fail?
Have I ever had a food let that side? I hear somebody asking a question. I am not the most tech-savvy person, but I think the food, you mean like a recipe that I'm preparing at home fail, as opposed to like a modern internet fail?
Yeah.
Always. You know, never outright fail, like we didn't have dinner. The beauty of food is how flexible it can be. You can always interact. You can always do a little tweak here to the recipe, a little tweak there. I've had definitely many of my share dishes turn out not exactly the way I wanted them. But an outright fail and not work out, that hasn't happened since culinary school. Thank God.
Well, lucky for that, right?
So we got that other side seared. I got some more lacquer onto this side. We're going to flip them right back because they don't need a lot of time when you that first side that I lacquered and I flipped onto the grill. They don't need a lot of time on that flip over. They sear really quick, and we're gonna plate this dish up and have it all ready to go. So take the quinoa salad, right to the center like so. Nice colors here. You've got the red, the black, quinoa as well. Thank you, Karen. Nice medium rare bruschetta, just like that. I hope you're cooking this at home, and if you can, your house, I'm sure, smells wonderful. The aroma is coming off of this, that tamarind, the cumin spice characteristic. So bruschettas, platter them up, real simple like that. Are you ready to dig into this
I am
dish?
so ready for that.
I'll serve you up with this fork right here. A little bit of that quinoa salad onto your plate. So I got a spoon. So a little bit of that quinoa on your plate. Yum. Yum. Now, it just goes to show you don't always have to do beef with Cabernet. You don't always have to have cream sauces and butter. We have just a simple, healthy whole grain salad with a little bit of olive oil and some lamb.
All right, it looks like David has a question. David, go ahead and ask us a question. What you got?
Hi, Chef. That looks really good. Can you guys hear me okay?
Sure
Yeah.
can. Oh, David Duncan, our president of the winery.
Right.
Sorry, I'm a little, I was in the vineyard today working, but I am drinking the 2011 Russian River Twomey Pinot Noir, and
Yeah.
very excited for Saturday.
So are we.
It's going to be a great day. We're excited to do it as well. Great pizzas, great people, good times.
Great wine.
It's going to be good.
So we have
I have not had dinner yet, so can you guys hang out? Because I think I'm going to drive back to the winery and eat.
We got plenty for you here.
Yeah, there's plenty to go around.
That sounds good.
Well, you want to dig in and try this dish?
Sure.
I'll leave you your fork. There's your fork. I stole your fork.
A fork would be helpful, yeah.
See, oh, look at that. Nice medium rare right there in the center.
Beautiful.
Right? You can cook it off a little more.
All right, Melanie, go ahead.
I wanted to know if Chef has a favorite cut of meat that he likes to work with or eat.
I do actually. I have many. I was like, which one do I start with? When it comes, I'm a big beef guy. I love beef, and that tends to be kind of one of my go-to meats. One of my favorite cuts is filet mignon. Tends to be most people's favorite cut of beef. Oh, it's so tender, I love it. For me, the true test of a good cut of beef is the New York strip loin or the New York steak. That cut is on a really good beef. It's going to be beautifully tender and rich and flavorful. Definitely any good steak.
Great question.
And yourself? What's your favorite?
Me? I'd have to agree with you there, Chef.
New York steak, right? All right. We're in New York steak now.
Right.
All right, folks. Any other questions about the recipe and how we prepare things today? Anybody out there? Any tweets? Well,
so far, no more tweets. But you can download all of these recipes right from the web page, and please try them out right when you're drinking some Twomey wine, some Silver Oak. Pair perfectly, just like we did tonight.
Yeah, nice and simple. Keep it casual. Pull out your Silver Oak. Don't save it for a special occasion. Pull it out for an everyday dinner. You'll love it, especially with a dinner like this. I want to thank all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karen, for your help today.
Oh, my pleasure. I learned a lot. I always get a chance to experience Dominic's wine and food and share it with our guests that come here for events, and it's a rare opportunity to get to cook alongside him. So it's been a lot of fun.
Thank you. Well, yeah, we have a good time. Karen's a great help with us here in our events department here at Silver Oak. We do a lot of food and wine pairing dinners.
That's right.
Groups as small as 4 to 5 or as large as up to 100. I get the pleasure of preparing foods from our garden. Just about every vegetable that we serve was grown here on the property. Really passionate about preparing as much as we can in-house as well, from the breads that we bake in our wood oven to making our own sauces, our own verjus that we like to make, and things like that.
We also offer, here at our Oakville property, we offer food and wine pairings in the afternoons, and they're really a great experience. Every time I've had the opportunity to sit in on one, I've always learned something new. And for those of you that are passionate about wine and food, it's a fantastic experience. We get a chance to try both our Silver Oak wines and our Twomey wines. So you'll get to experience the whole family of the whole Duncan family wines, both Twomey and Silver Oak.
Yeah, and we'll go through all the wines for you to taste with the food. And the food's ever changing, so seasonal, garden-based. And now the recipes we've prepared here, you can find them. We have a whole list of other recipes you can find on our website, the Silver Oak website. I do a whole list of recipes that will pair with the Twomey wines and the Silver Oak wine, from appetizers to entrees, and you can feel free to kind of dive through there. We even have a section where it talks about how to pair food and wine. Just that simple approach, starting with the protein, what protein to choose, and what wine will pair best with. And then it gets into bridge ingredients, how to really make the pairing a little bit more complex, not just a piece of meat and the wine. To know that the black olives in this dish really help to kind of tie in and help the red wine pair with the dish. And so there's a little section on the website that talks about food and wine pairing basics, and it goes with each of the wines. And if you just want to do a simple recipe, you got to go on the website. There's this great tomato soup and grilled cheese, but it's more like an adult grilled cheese, if you will. among some simple grilled dishes, grilled meats for summer barbecues, or even some holiday special recipes for you to enjoy as well. I love this. I think it's great. The tamarind's got a nice acid balance to it, and we hope you enjoyed doing everything with us as well.
All right.
So, to all of you, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much. We hope to see you on Saturday at either of our Twomey properties. It'll be a ton of fun. And thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Salud. Cheers.